Hello everyone, this is Striker Utasa from Stronghold Central, putting the tank back in Titan, and today I want to give you a sword review on Worldline 0. So, this is an exotic arc sword with an adaptive frame. Unfortunately, it's an adaptive frame sword, not super fantastic. But the whole point of this weapon is the Tesserat's intrinsic trait. After sprinting for 1 second, while at 100% sword energy, it grants temporal sprint until no longer sprinting. Whenever you do a grounded heavy attack, you can do a heavy blink attack that launches you forward. This blink attack does a lot of damage. You can even do it twice to spend 6 ammo on basically a super vortex frame heavy. This is really great on paper until you realize you have to be at 100% sword energy to actually do this, meaning you can't really block with this weapon. This is my biggest issue with Worldline 0 on Stronghold. Check this out. Okay, so I sprint, I get temporal sprint, that's all fine and dandy. I can do my cool ass mega attack. It's actually a lot of damage. Like, I used this in a solo flawless master lost sector, and it melted champions. It was great. It did a good job. The problem is, so on Stronghold, right? You're supposed to, block to get your restoration back, everything like that, get your perfect guard stacks, whatever. If I block with this weapon, let's say I'm running towards the enemies, I want to block a little bit, I want to get my perfect guard stacks up, and then I want to hit them. So I'm blocking, and now I'm sprinting. I'm ready for it. Where's my sprint? There it is. You see the problem? You see the issue? Is that if I am in a master lost sector or in a GM and I try to use, Stronghold's 90% DR while holding block and the ability to get restoration ×2, I have to block and then run around for a while, and then I can do it. Now, this is without Lucent Blades. With Lucent Blades, it is slightly better. But check this out. Even with 3 Lucent Blades, that is plus 60 charge rate, because it goes from, it gets you plus 30, then plus 50, then plus 60. With plus 60 charge rate, you're still not at 100, because you're at 80 now, because this thing's charge rate is 20. Now, check this out. I sprint. I block, and I sprint. Still takes a lot longer than 0.2 seconds, homie. It still takes a lot longer than 0.2 seconds. Now, you can do this, which is honestly really cool. You can, charge in the battle by, you can try to charge in the battle and then hold block to get your perfect guard stacks, and then you can, run around and get your stuff up whenever you actually have the restoration already, which isn't bad. I've done this before in, high-level content. This is very, very fun, but the end lag of the first blink is the problem. Look how long I'm vulnerable there until I can get my block up. Now, keep in mind, in the GM, in really hard, difficult content, you don't want to be vulnerable. You want to either kill the thing or have enough DR to be standing next to the thing and be fine. This is the problem with Worldline 0. If they gave it the old sword energy charge rate back, like the Lament, let me actually grab it real quick and show y'all what I'm talking about. So the Lament, back when swords got changed, it can go from, 99% sword energy back to 100 almost instantly. Look at that. If they gave that to Worldline 0, you could run into battle, you could block, get 100 stacks of perfect guard, and then drop shield and immediately do your temporal sprint. 0.5 seconds after dropping your shield, you could do your temporal sprint. How freaking cool would that be? I genuinely love swords in this game. I think almost every sword in this game has potential to be good or be used in some case. Most swords aren't outclassed. They have unique perk combos. They might not be good perk combos, but they're at least unique. And especially when it comes to the exotic swords, they have really fun gimmicks. The problem is that these gimmicks are just not very well thought out. I think Worldline 0, if they gave it the original charge rate back, would be fantastic on Stronghold, because you can just do that huge burst damage. This is the highest burst damage sword in the game, except for, I think, Redirection Abyssal Edge might be better. I'll get to that whenever I get to Abyssal Edge again. I'll do a sword breakdown with all of the burst DPS for every sword at some point. But if they just gave it the old charge rate back, then you could block with it. You could actually make use of the infinite guard. Why does this thing have infinite guard if blocking with it is terrible? I give it Sword Masters. If you're going to keep the regular guard, then give it Sword Masters so it gets up to 30 charge rate, which means you can then just run 2 Lucent Blades and have 80 charge rate instead of having to run 3. Give it Sword Masters. You could give it the old way to actually regain sword energy. Something like that would be fantastic for Worldline 0. You can see the footage on screen now of me going through this lost sector. I'm actually not really having that big of an issue with it. It's a very, very easy lost sector to deal with. The main problem is just I have to wait for so long to actually do any damage with this thing, because it's just an adaptive frame. If I drop shield and immediately heavy, I just do the regular ass adaptive frame attack, which is terrible. But adaptive frame heavy, not great. It's nowhere near as good as the wave frame heavy or the aggressive frame heavy. It's nowhere near as good. But no, like Worldline 0, it's a really fun sword, but a very cumbersome sword, which is why on my tier list here, right here, see, I put Heart Shadow up here. I did a Heart Shadow review. Watch that if you're interested in my opinion on that weapon. I don't know where to put this, because honestly, it could go here, because it is close. If they gave it that change, I think it would be an extremely good sword, especially on Stronghold. But the issue is that you cannot use this weapon defensively because of these sword regen changes. So I think, honestly, I might change this tier, because I'm not done with this tier list yet. I think 1 or 2 changes away from meta would be fantastic. I think that's where this sword belongs. It's a mid-tier sword. I think if they changed it, if they gave it the regen, or you could give it an intrinsic overload or intrinsic anti-barrier or something like that, because then I don't have to shoot the champion with a chill clip weapon or like an anti-barrier weapon or whatever, and then go for the ward line. I could just rush the champion and kill them. That would also be fantastic. If you want to lean into the sword being a champ destroying burst weapon, hell yeah, dude, do it. Give me Worldline 0 with like intrinsic overload. That would be fantastic. Overload champions teleport all the time. There you go. Overload champions teleport. Worldline teleports. Makes sense when you think about it. Just don't think about it too hard. Just some closing statements here. So, Worldline's a very weird sword, right? Like, in conclusion, Worldline's a very weird sword. It has tracking problems. It has the weird 99% sword energy problem because it doesn't have the old sword regen properties like Lament does. It's just, the damage is there. The damage is good enough. But everything else about the sword is just awkward and terrible to use. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, I am looking for as much feedback as possible on this. This is the first, like, proper sword review that I have tried to do besides the Heart Shadow one, which was kind of just me doing a Lost Sector and ranting about Heart Shadow. This is me ranting about Worldline 0 and focusing mostly on the sword. So please, any feedback is heavily appreciated. And I am live every single day at 6 p.m. CST for, like, dungeons, GMs, raids, whatever, here on YouTube and over on Twitch. So if you want to join those, join me then. And I will see you gamers later. Let me know how would you fix Worldline 0 in the comments below. And have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everyone.